What's good, guys? We're back at it again with another video. As you can see by the title, this will be the last video that I make regarding the class of 2022, of course, until, a couple of them get to the next level, college, start making some noise, and we might do their college breakdowns. But in terms of high school basketball, amateur basketball, this is the last video that we're going to do on the class of 2022 because you all know AAU season just started. I got a lot of other good videos coming on prep basketball, politics and basketball. You guys wanted me to make a video about that. Just videos about the basketball world in general. I got those coming. We got to take a deeper look into the class of 2023, 2024, 2025. And I think one of y'all actually commented a 2026 kid, so we might get to that too as well. But like I said, it's the last time we're going to be looking at the class of 2022 for a while. 6 months ago, I came with my 2022 top 10. And at the time, Shaden was still in the class before he, reclassed up to go to Kentucky early. I had him at number 1. I just want to humble brag. I put him at number 1 before every other ESPN 24/7 had him number 1 in the class. I had him number 1 a couple days earlier before he ended up reclassing. Him, Jay Gort, before he ended up signing with Overtime Elite, I had him pretty high up in the 2022 top 10. But again, that was 6 months ago. There's been a lot of movement. I've seen a lot more players, especially the players that I'm about to have in this top 10. Honestly, I've seen a lot of these guys play over probably 6 to 7 times just from me doing breakdowns, me doing a team breakdown on the team they're on, me just watching just for my own leisure, just watching. I've seen a lot of these dudes play a lot of the times. But with this top 10, I'm not going to be the type of person who, we're going to start from the bottom and go to the top, because I'm the type of person I will go to the end, see who you have at number 1, then rewind back to the beginning and watch from there. So I won't even do that to y'all. So let's just get right into it. We're going to start at number 1. So my number 1 player in the class of 2022, my final rankings will be Reek Whitehead. Keep in mind, this is my rankings. This is just from what I've seen, but Reek to me is the number 1 player in the class. This is a player who's been at Montver since 8th grade in an era where high school basketball players are extremely impatient. They don't want to wait. They want to play right away. He's had to wait his turn. He was on the same team with Cade Cunningham, the same team with all these top players that Montver gets every single year, and has had to wait his turn. And he's had to go against these players every single day in practice. Iron sharps iron. And this is every day since 8th grade, which is why he just won. He was the Naismith National Player of the Year. Montver just won the national championship. Geico Nationals. They just won again. Men and women. Shout out to Montver for doing that. But this is you don't like putting this tag on players early, but this is a consummate pro. This is a competitor, competes day in, day out. I have these little clips running right here. Like, this kid can score it in transition. He can score it from 3 at any time you want, scoring the mid-range, making turnaround fadeaways. I've seen this live, turnaround fadeaways on the baseline. He scores in the paint. He's an athlete, can play above the rim, locks up defensively, competes defensively. In that Montver game against IMG, had an extremely clutch steal. He didn't end up making the layup. Obviously, Kwame didn't make the layup, but Dylan Mitchell was right there to finish it off, which is part of the reason why they won that game. And I said if you haven't gone to check it out, my Geico Nationals vlog that I just dropped yesterday. I said in there, like, this is a point guard. And, he's listed as a 2 or 3. But the reason why I said that is in a lot of the games where you see Reek Whitehead play, he has the ball in his hands a lot of the times. And sometimes he might look like the primary ball handler in a lot of the games that he plays in. This kid can guard 1, 2, 3. And at 6'6", especially in college, he's going to be able to switch on the 4s as well and hold up, right? And then offensively, on the offensive end, he can run your offense. He can slide to the 2. He can slide to the 3 at 6'6" because he has a size, and he can make any shot you want in the game. And he's a winner. Like I just said, he just won the national championship. He's been a winner his entire high school career, since 8th grade. Like I said, he's been a winner. I haven't really seen him, especially after seeing him in person. It kind of solidified it in my head. This kid really doesn't take plays off. I said it in the vlog, like when he's on the court, he has a calmness to him. Even when IMG was down late, when Montver was down late, he had a calmness to him. Wasn't really worried. It kind of spread throughout the team, which is part of the reason why they won that game. And this is why I have Reek Whitehead as my number 1 player in the class. He's going to Duke next year. Can't wait to see what he does. Duke did end up losing to North Carolina, but Duke fans should be excited for what's coming next year. Let's move on to number 2. So my number 2 player in the class of 2022, you guys might have thought I was throwing him some shade. Duke fans will be happy about who my number 2 is, but you guys probably thought I was throwing in some shade in this, the Montver breakdown when I was saying, yeah, Derek Lively's going head to head with Kel'el Ware, and Kel'el's doing this, and that, and that still doesn't negate the fact that I still consider Derek Lively, the number 2 player, not number 1 because of Reek and his resume, but number 2 because of, the skills that he has now. His best days are going to be in the future. Like what I always say about ESPN, how they rank production potential, right? When you have Lively, when you have a 7'1" center who can stretch out defenses and knock down threes, when you have someone who is a vertical spacer, his catch radius is ridiculous, can catch oops from all over, wherever you want, and he's a shot blocker, competes defensively, that's translatable to every level. So what you see Chet, what you saw Chet doing this year, not all the skill going coast to coast, but what he was doing on the defensive end, all the blocks he was having, the effect that he was having on the floor even when he wasn't scoring, Lively's going to have that same type of effect on the game, especially for Duke next year. And then after that in his career, like I said, his best days are ahead of him, but to have a 7-footer that can step out and knock down a three, can catch any type of oop you want. He learned in the McDonald's All-American game, okay, I can't just try and lay it up on Kel'el. I need to dunk this. Then once he really gets that dog mentality, because even when I have watched, full games of him, he'll have, a couple plays where I'm like, his effort's a little lacking. But once he really gets that dog and realizes, because for bigs, I had to learn this. You got to learn, you got to have a dog. You got to be a dog to be a big, especially at an extremely high level. Because all the layups, once you find somebody that can match your athleticism, your length, it's not going to work anymore. You got to try and punch everything. He learned that in McDonald's. Once he learns that, once he gets to college and they get that into his head, like I said, a footer who can knock down a three, will dunk on you, and will block everything that comes in the paint. Spooky. We're not done with this top 10, but Duke fans, you got something coming next year. Let's get ready for number 3. My number 3 player in the class of 2022 is probably a lot of high school basketball players' number 1 player, and that is Keonta George, right? Keonta is a player who I've seen play a lot. I've done breakdowns on him individually in high school. I've done AAU breakdowns. I did the IMG team breakdowns. And then since I'm currently in Florida, in our prep school has played IMG, I want to say we played IMG, over 5 or 6 times between our prep, high school, the national postgrad, regional postgrad, all that. So I've been at IMG. I've seen him in person. I've had eyes on him before I even saw him playing Geico. So I already kind of had a feel, okay, how is his demeanor? Because one time when we went to a game, they were actually working out when we were there. So I was even watching him work out, okay, is he really working? So when I have him at number 3, this is him and Lively. In my head, it was going back and forth. Really, the reason why I have Lively number 2 is for his future. Like I said, his best days are ahead of him. But for Keonta George, this is, out of the entire class of 2022, this is probably the best scorer in the class. Pure score in the class. Seeing it in person at Geico kind of solidified that for me, that aspect of it, because, I've seen certain games where, okay, if Keonta's shot isn't falling from the perimeter, it might be, okay, I don't really see him drive as much. He really likes to rely on that shot, his shot-making ability. I was kind of having questions about that, but then I saw him in person, and, okay, his shot might not have been falling early, so what does he do? He attacks, and I see him finishing. Right hand, left hand. I see him getting into the middle of the floor, floater here. And then by the time the second half came around, end of the first half, going into the second half, his shot came on. And when I'm telling you, this dude was making some shots from all over the floor. You saw it in the vlog. And 1-3 at the end of the first half. He shoots some deep one. It looked like he, pump fake, double clutch, deep 3. All net, and I'm looking at some of our players that I have with me at the game. I'm like, bro, this kid is crazy. He's a bucket. This is what you're getting next year, Baylor. A bucket, a score. Is part of the reason why he went to Baylor, I'm pretty sure, because they let their guards rock out. You saw Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, but this kid is one of the best scorers in the class. He also does compete defensively. That's one thing I also did notice. You see it some of the times in video, but seeing it in person, he does compete defensively. Chirps a little bit, I like that. There are times in the game I talked about a little bit. He kind of has this kind of laid back demeanor, But at the same time, he has that demeanor, and you might thinking, oh man, Keonta, he kind of chilling. And you look up, and it's the third, and he got about 18 to 20, and you like, oh, wait, never mind, I take that back. He really out here working. This dude is a scorer. You'll look up at the box score, he'll have 30 on you. Easy, because he heats up fast, and when he gets hot, that ball ain't going nowhere else. It's coming back to him, and he gets his clips off. I'm telling you, this is a score, a bucket, worthy of number 3 in the class. Like I said, number 2 and number 3, I kind of had to go back and forth, but he's like that. Bucket, score, get ready to see what he does in the future. Let's go to number 4. So my number 4 player in the class of 2022, Nick Smith Jr., right? Even though I just said Keonta is probably the best scorer in the class, Nick Smith is, probably right there, right behind him on his heels. This is a 6'4", 6'5" shooting guard, extremely long arms. And his game is it's kind of like an awkward, but he's still quick at the same time. He can still get by you, but it's it's hard to describe just how he's moving out there on the floor. But one thing I do know, however he's moving, is ending in a bucket, right? Wherever you want it, however you want it. And one of the biggest things why I kind of moved him up is because, I'd seen him play, and we've done his breakdown before. I'd seen him play in AAU, Peach Jam, but McDonald's. Right, when I saw him against, because I did also watch, some of their practices, some of the actual 5-on-5 McDonald's practices. And then I watched, of course, we did the breakdown on the whole scrimmage. So when I saw all that, and I'm like, okay, like this dude against the top competition in the class is putting on, like scoring, getting by dudes, easy, coming off pick and rolls. He understands how to use it. He understands how to play at his own pace. You saw in the All-American scrimmage, coming off the pick and roll, at his own pace. Let me chill for a little bit, then I'm gonna explode, get to my floater, or do the same things, come off, let me get to my pull-up, can knock down the open 3. But he really, his bread and butter, he likes that mid-range, whether it be a floater or a jump shot. He loves that mid-range. This dude can score the ball at an extremely high level. Like I said, long arms, so defensively, he's gonna be able to lock in and really lock people down at some point. It's gonna be really exciting to see what he does in college. At Arkansas, I know I have a lot of Arkansas fans that, are tuned in to him and Jordan Walsh. And you guys also just got Anthony Black. That's a big time class coming in. Again, Nick Smith, number 4 player in the class of 2022, 6'4" shooting guard, can score the ball for real. Legit. Let's go to number 5. The number 5 player in the class of 2022. This is a player who, honestly, I have been skeptical about him on the channel. He's always been in that top 3, and even after my first breakdown, this is Amari Bailey. Even after my first breakdown, I think I even said in that video, like, yeah, I'm not sure if he is who they say he is. And then I did another breakdown on him, and I'm like, okay, I can kind of see. And then I did the McDonald's All-American scrimmage, and I'm like, okay, I can see, okay, why they had him that high. I personally don't have him that high, but that doesn't negate from his talent, how good he is. This is another 6'4" shooting guard, but Amari is an extremely strong physical guard, downhill and transition, can finish in traffic, can also knock down the open 3 as well. But one of the biggest things, obviously, like I said, I don't have him in that top 3, but I still have him top 5, which is still great. But, the thing that I saw that kind of really opened my eyes to Amari Bailey in that McDonald's All-American scrimmage was his ability to pass the basketball. His ability to pass the basketball. Like I said in the scrimmage video, like for a lot of these players, the teams that they play on, of course, some of them do play on, top teams, Montver, Oak Hill, IMG, even Sierra Canyon is like a top team. They have ranked players. But of course, with Sierra Canyon, maybe not everyone on that roster is a 4-star, 5-star, while on Montver, Oak Hill, IMG, that might be the case. So when he is making these type of passes to these teammates that he has on Sierra Canyon, maybe they don't finish it, which kind of takes away from the assist, the pass that he made himself. But when I'm seeing it in McDonald's and his teammates can finish all these passes, and I'm really able to see his vision, whether it's in transition, whether it's in the half court, whether it's even a split second reaction that he has. Like you saw, he comes off the pick and roll, raises up to shoot it. He's left-handed, which is why I'm doing this. So he raises up to shoot it, and then at the last second, he sees his big man and just throws a dart. Half second, pinpoint pass to his big, easy finish for an and 1. Like when I see things like that, as well as his ability to score the ball downhill and transition, like I said, he is physical. His body already kind of filled out a little bit, so he can take bumps. He was finishing in traffic in McDonald's against some of the best bigs in the country. So when I see all that, and he can knock down the open three, and I see, like, just from how he was talking, like, okay, you know, he really has a point to prove. He has a chip on his shoulder. He knows that people look at him kind of sideways, you know, West Coast, you know, light-skinned dude. People kind of look at him kind of sideways. So he knows that he has something to prove. He's going out there and he's really trying to prove it. So I am really excited to see what he does. You know, hopefully he proves me wrong. I don't think he's, you know, top 3, but hopefully he proves me wrong. We'll see what he does once he gets to UCLA. Let's go to number 6. Sixth player in the class of 2022 is a player that I've recently done a breakdown on. Recently was my first time really getting eyes on him. You know, even on video, in video form. Obviously, I haven't had the chance to see him in person, but to just see him in video. This is Filbowski. Also a Duke commit. So we have 3 Duke commits that I have in the top 10. This is a player who is 6'11", listed as a center power forward, but he's 6'11", and one of the reasons why I have him, you know, rated this highly is I said it in his breakdown. This is one of the first 6'11" footer centers, whatever you want to call it, that I've seen actively be a primary ball handler in high school basketball. So you'll see, like, because when I was in high school coming out, Bam was like, Bam was my quote unquote comparison. So that was the person I'm watching. Like, I was watching Bam Adebayo when he was in high school, right? That was what I was watching. And you would see Bam from time to time, you would see flashes of it. They let him bring the ball up, you know, they let him bring it up in transition. They let him, you know, get it at the top of the key, high post, make a play. But to see, you know, and that kind of gave you a flash of what was to come, obviously, of what he's doing in the league. But with Kyle, like, this is a player who consistently at the center position brings the ball up, initiates offense, and comes off pick and rolls and makes plays for himself and his teammates. If you go watch the breakdown, this kid was hitting threes. He's coming off pick and rolls, throwing all the passes. He's going downhill off pick and roll, finishing. An athlete. When he's around the rim, he's dunking. And in that breakdown game, which is really why you should watch it, he was playing Derek Lively. This is a head-to-head matchup, 2 top 10 players playing Derek Lively, and he's dunking everything around the rim. When I say everything, please go watch it. He was dunking everything around the rim while also being the primary ball handler on his team. Like, that's scary, especially in college, what type of mismatch that's going to be. So when I just said, when you have Reek and Derek Lively, you got Derek Lively at the 5, you got, what's the name? You got Kyle at the 4. Reek, you can place him 1 through 3, whatever. Who else you got in your class? Who else that they have coming back? I'm telling you, it's going to be real spooky. But Kyle, like I said, you don't see many 6'11" centers handling the ball like he does, like all over, like against competition too, like against guards. He's handling the ball. So I just want to see how they use him at Duke and then how they might use him in that 3-letter league. We're going to see. But like I said, Filbowski, this is a dog. This is a hooper. Can't wait to see what he does. Number 7. Number 7 ranked player in the class of 2022 is Texas commit Dylan Mitchell. 6'7", 6'8". They have him listed as a power forward, but I see him more as a wing power forward. Can do both. Can play both positions. He's going to develop a little bit more to play that 3 spot, but he definitely can get to that point. This is one of my favorite players in the class. Like I said, he's 6'7", 6'8", but this is probably the best athlete in the entire class. And I say that, and I don't say that lightly. I say that legitimately. Like, some of the things that he can do at his size, like, it's crazy to see. I'll have some of it playing, but like some of the stuff that he can do at his size is actually ridiculous. But on the floor, how that translates to the floor, you see the Montver team breakdown that I did a while ago. We never did his individual breakdown, but that's one of the first times where I saw him, and I've been tracking his progress since then, because what I saw in that game was a 6'7", 6'8" player that can knock down the 3. I'm not saying he's a 3-point shooter at this point in his career, but he can knock down one every now and then. He can shoot the mid-range. You saw it in the against IMG. He takes the 1 dribble, easy pull up in the mid-range, middle of the floor. But again, this kid can score it in transition. You can throw it ahead to him. He can push it in transition and go punch on somebody. He competes on the defensive end, can guard multiple positions because of his long arms and his athleticism. And he can also block shots off of that too. So let's just say he gets beat. He gets switched onto a guard. He might get beat, right? But he has the athleticism to recover from behind, block it. Or he's guarding a bigger player. He has the athleticism to make up for that size difference and end up, contesting that shot. This is a player who his potential his potential is big, especially, once that skill, like once he actually gets that, that college level skill development, right? When he really develops the handle and the shot and can like actively be on the wing, not just be at the 4, because he can play the 4 now, but I'm just talking about what he could be in the future once he actually gets that like real development, like day in, day out, nonstop. Not saying he's not doing that now, but at the college level, I've said it before, go watch my transition videos. I don't care what you think you're doing, it's entirely different. Once you get into that type of, skill development, like this kid could be proud. This kid could be, in terms of this class, the players who have the highest ceilings. He's probably one of the players that has one of the highest ceilings, just that mixture of athleticism and skill level that he even has right now. Really excited because he competes on both ends. This is a two-way player. And also the number 8 player, right, comes after him, also a two-way player that I saw live. Let's get to it. Like I just said, number 8 player, two-way player. This is another player kind of like Amari that I was skeptical about at first, right? When I saw him, this is Jairus Walker. This is when I first did his breakdown and I saw him playing in AAU. And I was a little skeptical because I'm like, about 6'7", like where do you want to put him? Because I've seen him at the 4, but like in AAU, I'm like, they give him the ball a lot. At the 3, like they give him the ball a lot, let him initiate. But I didn't really see I didn't really see the handle, right? And I kind of was like, all right, I like him. I like how physical he is. I like how he's a dog. He's trying to punch everything, right? So I like that aspect of it. But in terms of on the perimeter, like, okay, I'm not sure. See him play again. I've seen him play a lot since then because he did play on IMG. So I've done a lot of the IMG breakdowns, seen these dudes a lot. So, and then I see him in McDonald's, knocks down a 3, makes plays for his teammates as the initiator in the offense. And then I see him live. And then I get to see him live, like live in person. So in person, he's actually like built like me, like 6'8", stocky, like swole, like for real. And one of the things that, really opened my eyes to Jairus Walker, like I said, in McDonald's, he showed he can be a playmaker. He showed he can initiate your offense, kind of like I said with Amari, when you're playing with, a little bit better players throughout the entire roster. Some of those passes they actually finish, which kind of make him look a little bit better. So I'm seeing him pass. I'm seeing him create for himself in McDonald's. He's doing all that. But when I saw him play live, his shot wasn't falling. Like his shot was not falling against Montver. Jairus' shot was not falling. Like, and I would see him and against Montver, he brought the ball up most of the time. Like kind of like how Draymond does, or like you guys don't know this player. His name is Mile Baxter Bailey. Played at Liberty. They did the same thing at Liberty when I was playing. He would initiate the offense from the 4, bring the ball up, get him into their action, and his shot wasn't falling from the perimeter. A lot of the times he'd bring it up and then try and back down kind of from the free throw line, kind of make moves off of that. Even that wasn't falling. But then I saw this dude on the defensive end make up for all of that. Like all of that. Why I call him a two-way player, this dude was locking down. When I tell you I've never seen more disrespectful blocks in my life. This is coming from a shot blocker. Like this dude, he probably finished with 5 or 6. And I'm talking about these blocks are he's swatting them, looking at the dude, swatting them off the glass like it's a fly, like this. Like head, like on the backboard, just swatting it out the way. And he kept IMG in the game, especially when Montver was making these runs, which is why I'm saying this is a two-way player. Even if his shot isn't falling, even if his touch isn't great that game, he's not making his hooks. For him, like he can still affect the game defensively in terms of just locking up whoever you want, contesting shots at the rim, and not to mention once he does get downhill, because I'm saying his shot wasn't falling, but once he gets downhill, a 6'8" basketball player, he looks about 230, 240, that coming at you downhill, that's pretty hard to stop. So, next year, it's going to be a matchup problem in college. He's going to be a matchup problem. I'm really excited to see what he does. Let's go to number 9. My number 9 player in the class of 2022, Grady Dick. This is our most recent breakdown. There isn't too much to say about it because, like I just said, we just did his breakdown. But this is a 6'7" shooter. A 6'7" shooter, can shoot it however you want it, off the catch, off a pin down, running off a flare screen, however you want it, off a handoff. This dude can knock down shots off the dribble. You saw in McDonald's get to a 1-dribble pull-up with a 6'7" defender with his hand in his face. Still a bucket. They play Montver. He gets Dylan Mitchell on the baseline. Dylan Mitchell, who I just said one of the better athletes in the class, freak athlete, long arms, doesn't matter. Can still get a shot off, knock it down. It's going to be like his game is translatable right now just because I'm looking at his footwork. I'm looking at how he approaches it, his pre-shot, like how he gets ready for how he's going to shoot, like everything. This dude he's ready. His game is extremely translatable. I can't wait to see where he takes it, and he's an underrated athlete. I forgot I didn't say that too much in his breakdown, but this is an underrated athlete. He can jump a little bit. You might think, oh, yeah, he is a shooter, da-da-da-da. Play if you want when he's driving towards the rim because he can finish. He can finish, but he understands, like, he's a shooter, and he can get a shot off against anybody. But when he does drive, he can finish and play if you want to because this kid can jump a little bit. You will get dunked on, end up dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. I'm telling you, play if you want to. Kansas signee. Can't wait to see what he does. Last but not least, my number 10 player in the class of 2022. This is Jordan Walsh, Arkansas signee. You got a 6'7" wing. This is a player who I also saw live in Geico Nationals. And when I first did his breakdown, one thing that I instantly saw from the jump is this dude is one of the hardest workers that I've seen in high school basketball. Like, doesn't take any plays off, is relentless on the offensive glass, on the defensive glass, on any loose ball, defensively locked in, and another one of those players once he's coming at you downhill. Like, this dude will dunk on you, and he's creative with his finishes. I've seen it multiple times now, and I've seen it live. He'll jump off vert and do some crazy layups in traffic. Like, I've seen it. But one of the biggest things I want to talk about, this is another two-way player. When I went to Geico Nationals, his shot, I think he finished maybe 13 to 15 points, I want to say, but his shot wasn't really falling like that. He was just scoring a lot in transition and using his body, like I said, the kind of crazy lays, but his shot wasn't falling. But defensively, I had our players were talking, like, who is that? Like, his arms, how long his arms are, how well he was competing defensively was kind of crazy. I'll be honest, like, it was kind of crazy to see, like, this dude can guard. Like, when I say can guard, I'm talking about he was guarding, like, the dude that I was saying was the best player on Prolific, Trey White. I think he's ranked, he's top 40 in the class. Trey White was getting off. He had 30. He had 20 by the third quarter. And then Jordan Walsh took that challenge. Was not scoring like that from then on. Like, this dude was locking down, moving his feet. And a lot of the times, those possessions either ended in a turnover or a forced up bad shot. Like, this kid can play on two ends of the floor, relentless. If I had one word to describe Jordan Walsh, relentless. Coming at you, whether it be on the offensive end or the defensive end. Offensively, like I said, he's great in transition, going downhill. He's extremely hard to stop. In the half court, I wouldn't say he's the best shooter. He can knock down shots, but I wouldn't say he's the best shooter. Like, if you wanted to give him something, that would be what you would give him. A jump shot, because you don't want him coming downhill at you. But even as I say that, he can pass as well. Full court passes. I saw multiple of those. I'm talking about off the dribble. He did it in McDonald's, but he also did it in Geico's off the dribble, full court passes like it was nothing, right hand or the left hand. Just, I'm telling you, some of these players, him, Dylan Mitchell, Jairus, once they get into college and they get that skill development, like I said, it's real different. It's real different once you get to college at that level. I'm telling you, these dudes are going to be scary. Arkansas, it's another Arkansas signee. They got a Nick Smith, Jordan Walsh, Anthony Black. They're going to be tough. They JD's from Georgia. JD actually, I played against JD when he was in the ASUN at Jacksonville. Like, I'm telling you, like, and these dudes about to make some noise at Arkansas. All these players that have been in this breakdown, like, I cannot wait to see what they do in the future. I've had a great time this year, just watching them play, breaking down their games. Some of these dudes that are in this top 10, you're gonna hear their names for a while. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, share, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Appreciate you guys watching. Remember, if you want the one-on-one evaluations, subscriber breakdowns, they go on the channel, the website. Like I always say, appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you next time with the next video.